Look, let me get right to it. Let me say good afternoon. Today is Giving Tuesday, and we are going to illustrate that in two significant categories today as we talk about the City of Houston's ongoing COVID-19 response. In a few minutes, I will welcome Alex Bregman, a famed third baseman for the Houston Astros, who has launched FEEDHOU, a $2 million fundraising campaign to help feed Houston area residents experiencing food insecurity during the COVID-19 crisis. But first, let me give a daily report to you. The Houston Health Department is reporting 70 new cases of COVID-19 today, bringing the total case count in the city of Houston to 4,062. We've now crossed that mark. The total number of deaths, unfortunately, has increased by 4, so the number now is 79. 79 people in the city of Houston have died as a result of COVID-19. Of that number, let me just make a special note that 19 of the people in that 79 count, people who have passed, 19 are coming from our nursing homes. The 4 new deaths include a white female in her 80s with underlying health conditions who passed away on April the 25th, a Hispanic male in his 50s with underlying health conditions who passed away on April 23rd, a male of unknown race in his 60s with underlying health conditions who passed away on April 28th, and a white female in her 80s with underlying health conditions who passed away on April 22nd. I want to remind everyone that testing remains very important, and the Houston Health Department is operating 2 free drive-through COVID-19 community-based testing sites. The sites are open daily to anyone regardless of symptoms. And again, so let me remind you, the Butler Stadium and the Delmar Stadium are open. Those are 2 testing sites. Right now, it is also Barnett Stadium. Those 3 sites are open and they're running. Anyone without charge can go and be tested, whether you have symptoms or you don't have any symptoms at all. Let me pause now and bring up Dr. Purse.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind Houstonians, as businesses begin opening up and we start frequenting them, a point that we made last week, I want to remind folks that anyone, but in particular those who are elderly or who have underlying medical conditions and therefore are at greatest risk of suffering the greatest consequences of infection, that as you approach an establishment and consider going in, you can quickly scan inside and see whether or not you think that is a safe environment. The Greater Houston Partnership has put out a guideline for businesses on how they can make their businesses safe, and I encourage all business owners to refer to that. It's good advice on what you can do internally within your business to make sure that you have a safe environment, not only for your employees, but also for the patrons. I always want to remind folks that as you approach a place of business and consider going in, you don't have to be elderly, and you don't have to have chronic medical conditions to be concerned and to take a look. Because even if you're young and healthy, if you should become infected, you then become somebody who could potentially spread the virus to someone else. And as we've said many, many times, one of the greatest challenges with this particular virus is people without symptoms or before they have symptoms can spread it. So I would encourage all Houstonians, we have done great in this community. We have really done great. In fact, I should say you have done great in this community. This is why, although the numbers do continue to rise, when you compare our numbers to those of New York and New Orleans and Seattle, our numbers are remarkably low. That's because of the efforts that you all have done. So as we move forward, not moving backward, as we move forward, be smart, take a look inside an establishment and decide whether or not you think that's a safe environment to go to. And once again, the Greater Houston Partnership has put out some good guidelines for businesses to take a look at, to incorporate into their daily practices to make their environment a safer place than had they not done those steps. Mayor.
And again, I want to emphasize the importance of continuing to social distance yourself. Social separation is important. I want to emphasize again the importance of wearing face coverings, masks. I cannot emphasize that enough. The reason why we have been successful in keeping our numbers lower than other major, let's say, cities across the country, it's because of the steps you have been taking. I am concerned. I will tell you with what I saw this weekend on the beaches, for example, way too many people, not enough social gatherings. I am concerned still with seeing too many people in our city not wearing the mask, not the facial coverings. I am concerned that as we continue to open more, it seems as though we are doing less. And opening up our city or opening up our state does not mean things are normal, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be continuing to safeguard ourselves in such a way that we can continue not only to keep this disease flattened, but to make sure that we don't put ourselves in a sense where this virus will resurface 3 to 4 weeks down the road. So let me emphasize the importance of social distancing and at the same time making sure that we're wearing face coverings. And then just because you look well, may feel good, doesn't mean that you're not infectious. So please bear that in mind. This past Saturday, I was at NRG for the Houston Food Bank food distribution to Houston families. And I want to give a big thank you to the Houston Independent School District and to the Houston Food Bank. I looked over and I spotted someone that I used to play baseball with, Alex Bregman, before I hurt my leg and was unable to continue. And then I woke up and discovered I was dreaming. But I saw Alex Bregman and his fiancée Reagan working hard to load boxes of food into vehicles. And let me just say about this couple, they have not just been instrumental in raising a lot of money for the Houston Food Bank, but they actually put in the blood sweat in making it work. I mean, they actually work. He was wearing a mask, and no one recognized him because it was a busy place, but he was there to do the work. And he was not looking to be in the limelight. The Houston Astros third baseman has launched FEEDHOU, a $2 million fundraising campaign to help feed Houstonians in the Houston area experiencing food insecurity during the COVID-19 crisis. And since kicking off the campaign in early April, FEEDHOU has generated more than $1.7 million to date. As part of the global generosity movement, Giving Tuesday, Mr. Bregman is calling on Houstonians to step up to the plate and donate to the cause. And now please help me in welcoming Alex Bregman to City Hall. Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having me on Giving Tuesday. I would just like to remind everybody that there is a serious need for food in the Houston community, and I would urge everybody to do their part if they're able in helping out. The Houston Food Bank just does incredible work, and every dollar that is donated provides 3 meals. My fiance and I, when we originally launched this campaign, just could not sit and see kids missing meals. So we, like you said, we started out, we're a little bit over 1.7 million raised now. And if we get to our $2 million goal, that will put 6 million meals on the table for kids. It's very simple. All you have to do is text FEEDHOU, FEEDHOU, to 41444, and any donation helps, whether it's $1, $2, $5. It's helping families in need. As you said Saturday, we were at NRG handing out food, and we could just see the need and see people rallying together to help other Houstonians during this time. And as I said on Saturday to you, it's been amazing to see Houstonians not feel bad for themselves. Instead, they're trying to help others, and that's what makes the city so great. So thank you for everything y'all are doing. Thank you for having me on today. And I'd just like to remind everybody, all you have to do is text FEEDHOU to 41444, and you'll be helping families in need. So thank you.
Now, thank you, Alex, and thank you, and Reagan, for what you all have been doing, and very much appreciated. You're outstanding on the baseball field, man, even more outstanding in the community, so thank you. Okay, look forward to playing with you real soon.
Sounds good.
All right, as a reminder, donations can be made by typing FEEDHOU to 41444 or by visiting the FEEDHOU Alex Army donation page online at www.houstonfoodbank.org. Now, the major portion of one of the major things that I want to highlight today deal with our rental assistance initiative. Tomorrow, Houston City Council will vote on a $15 million rental assistance program to provide Houston's low to moderate income residents rental assistance in the wake of the COVID-19 economic fallout. We know that people have lost jobs, businesses have shut down, and a lot of families are struggling while also trying to survive the public health crisis. We heard and we are hearing from many of them today, as each one of the council members can attest. The need is great within our city, and we want to do our part to assist as many families as we can. And tomorrow, this measure will be before city council members, and I'm hopeful that it will pass tomorrow, and we can provide assistance to thousands of families within our city. More than 2.1 million Texans have filed for unemployment since COVID-19 began its spread, and for many Houstonians, that means they cannot pay their rent. This program will include individuals and families who are at risk of evictions. The amount of funding will allow the city and Baker Ripley to help up to as anywhere from 7,000 Houstonians to as many as 13,000. The City of Houston's Rental Assistance Program, in partnership with Baker Ripley, is in partnership with Baker Ripley, and I cannot thank this organization again for stepping up. They've done it time and time again, and they're stepping up to assist us this time as well. And so, as you can imagine, there is a tremendous need. And so at this point, let me yield to Claudia Aguirre, who is with Baker Ripley. Claudia.
Is this able to? I can get on my tippy toes. So thank you, Mayor. So, we have a saying at Baker Ripley, what gets led gets done. Thank you for your leadership. You and I and so many have been at the forefront since this pandemic hit, and we have been seeing the crippling effect that this pandemic has had on our citizens and our neighbors. We have been, unfortunately, part of every disaster since our beginning of 1907 in this region. And every disaster has come at a very inopportune time, and this is no different. Every week right now, Baker Ripley's been serving 28,000 people every week with our seniors, our food distributions, with partners, with our community centers. And just as I was listening to all of the citizens at the public session, it's no different than what I'm hearing out in the communities. But every person who was at public session and talked, and every comment from the council members and the mayor, it's the same thing. We are definitely in need. And that is what Baker Ripley is prepared to do, is to start the recovery now. Our infrastructure, our systems, our expertise will allow us to get this rental assistance program underway. I know it's been mentioned before, but I just want to briefly talk about that this program, Baker Ripley will be providing the direct payments to the enrolled landlords. The assistance will pay and offset the tenant's rent for months of April and May. And so once the city approves, we will launch the rental assistance program website, and then we will operate it into 2 stages. The first stage, the landlords will enroll in all of their properties on the website. And once that is done, there will be several elements that the landlord will need to agree to. And then the tenants will then be able to apply. So while there are a lot of moving pieces, I assure the region, the council members, the mayor, the administration, and the 600,000 people we serve every year, we are prepared, as we have after every disaster, to effectively and efficiently get these resources out to the people that need it most. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so very much. And let me just say, I do want to thank Claudia Aguirre Vasquez, and what I did not mention, of course, you know, she's president and CEO of Baker Ripley, and so I want to thank her for her support. And Baker Ripley and the Houston Apartment Association, this program will be funded by the Coronavirus Relief Fund, part of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, the CARES Act. And so working with them, and I too want to acknowledge the Houston Apartment Association for their work and what they have done and their support and assistance. A number of the apartment owners had already committed not to evict anyone. In fact, they've gone even further in providing assistance to many people who have lost their jobs or lost income. So let me also now this time bring on Clay Hicks, president of the Houston Apartment Association. Clay. That's Clay.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Claudia. Good afternoon. My name is Clay Hicks. I'm president of TDC Management and the Knittersing Companies, as well as the 2020 president of the Houston Apartment Association. And on behalf of our members, our staff, and the many residents across the city, I want to thank Mayor Turner for his leadership in creating this vital program for our city. There's over 1 million people living in apartments in our city, many who've lost their jobs and had a hard time paying rent. So this program will go so far to help them catch up and pay the last 2 months of rent. Additionally, it'll help our landlords as they continue to try to run their properties through this time, to pay their employees, including the maintenance workers who become so vital right now, including paying taxes, which go to support our school teachers, our policemen, and our firefighters. So I'm privileged to be up here today, and I thank you for letting me be a part of Giving Tuesday. Hope this is a tradition, so thank you again.
Thank you. And I do want to give special acknowledgement to all of the council members, because I know this has been a top priority for the council members from day one. And so to Jerry Davis, Councilmember Jerry Davis, Sally Alcorn, been instrumental in pushing this program. All of the council members, so let me thank you. And while this program, and Carla Cisneros from District 8 snuck in on me. And while this program is new because of COVID-19, in addition to the $15 million coming from the Coronavirus Relief Fund, the Coronavirus Aid Relief, in addition to the $15 million rental assistance program, the City Council will also vote on an $8 million $8 million in HUD funds for rental assistance, and the city already is currently expending $12 million in rental assistance, but we're going to add to that the $8 million, assuming Council votes tomorrow, on this program. And so while there are many challenges we face together because of the pandemic, the city is always still with people in their greatest time of need. And I want to acknowledge and thank Tom McCasland, the Director of Housing and Community Development, on this. So Tom, if you will come up. And you can speak to the additional $8 million.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to be here, and thank you, Claudia, for the overview of the $15 million as it relates to the $8 million and the other funds that are out there, working with 10 different nonprofit agencies throughout the city. We know that over the next 6 months, there will need to be successive programs as we help Houstonians weather the upcoming economic crisis and make sure that they can remain safely in their homes. As it relates to these funds, we're still working with the mayor's office to build the program, but we do want to make sure that no one is forced out into homelessness as a result, and if they are, that we have a robust homeless system that can catch them and help them get back into permanent housing. That's our commitment at the city as we continue to move forward with these plans. The $8 million tomorrow, the vote is just to move it from multifamily development to the rental assistance so that families in need today can begin getting assistance today as well. Thank you, Mayor.
And with these $23 million, the hope is to try to prevent families from falling into a state of homelessness and finding themselves on the streets, and that's the goal, to provide some sense of security. Now, let me just say something else before I stop and open it up, and that is, as you know, the Texas Supreme Court has halted eviction proceedings until May 18th. And so let me just say I hope that there will not be evictions that are taking place right now. People are not being forced out of their homes. My hope is that we can all work together to get through these times, and that our tenants, for example, will not be getting notices that would just add stress to their lives and cause further disruption for them and for their families. So please, let's all work together as we go through these times. These are difficult times for everyone, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner. We're all in this together, and if we work together, we can come out of it much, much sooner. And then that's the announcement for today. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we'll make another announcement as it relates to our high school graduates in the city of Houston. And then on Thursday at 3 o'clock, there'll be a major announcement in reference to the expanding of our testing programs and contact tracing in the city of Houston. Having said that, I'll pause and take, we can take, Chief Fenner from HPD.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll give a quick update from HPD, but if I may, I just want to say a quick thanks to our community. It's been a tough week in HPD, and everybody knows that, but we get a strong sense of support and security from a great, great public that supports us all the time. Just want to report that Officer Chase Cormier is getting stronger every day, and his family is asking for continued prayers. And I also ask that you continue to pray for the Knox family. So a quick COVID update. We tested a total of 194 employees, 43 came back positive. Of those, 41 is in quarantine. The good news is 35 of them are reported back to work. So again, thanks for all the prayers, and we're standing strong in HPD because of our great community. Thank y'all.
And Assistant Chief Rodney West from the Fire Department.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick say about Houston Strong. It's not just a cliche. We see that it's a community every day when we see gifts like we received and the efforts of Ripley House and all of the community leaders, from the strong governmental leadership to the athletes that are contributing. We are truly Houston Strong. As far as the COVID update from HFD, we have a total of 41 members that have tested positive. Of those, 32 have returned to work. We have 49 members that are in quarantine, and 5 members that are being housed by the city of Houston.
Thanks, Chief. And then lastly, there will be a total of 4 individuals or groups that are donating additional supplies to the city of Houston to our Health Equity Response Team Task Force. 20,000 surgical masks from Siwa International, an international Hindu faith-based humanitarian nonprofit based in Houston. Why don't you come and stand right here? Hey, thanks. They're donating again 20,000 surgical masks from Siwa International. And then for the Office of Emergency Management, there will be 2,000 N95 masks from Siwa International, 2,000 N95 from the Small Independent Motor Association, SEMA, 50,000 rubber gloves from SEMA. And I want to thank the Hindu charity group SEWA for their generous contribution of these 20,000 surgical masks. These masks will be used by our Health Equity Response Task Force and distributed to vulnerable communities throughout the city of Houston. I also want to thank the Small Independent Motel Association and my good friend Hasu Patel, that's him right here, for their continued support and donation of the 2,000 N95 masks and the 50,000 rubber gloves. It is these kind of donations from our community that in turn help protect our community, and I'm very thankful for all of their help and their support. This is what makes Houston the great city that it is, highly resilient and highly sustainable. So thank you all so very, very much. Appreciate you. Thanks. Thank you all. Oh, let me just say there's an additional 20,000 masks that are also being provided as well. Now, they're bringing the masks. What I've noticed is that once that penalty element was eliminated from wearing a mask. It seems as though that people are not being as responsive. So let me encourage people, please take advantage of the mask distribution efforts, and please, again, put on your mask. And it's not to protect yourself, but it's to protect other people from yourself. So please do that. Thank you all so very, very much. Chief Bunick. Here we go, from the Office of Emergency Management.
Great. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and your guidance during this crisis. The Office of Emergency Management has been working hard along with all the other city departments in response to COVID to keep everybody safe. OEM is also monitoring the weather. We expect a fast-moving storm to come through this afternoon. I'd also like to announce that this week is Hurricane Preparedness Week. So everybody should make a plan, build a kit, stay informed, know your neighbors, and also download the disaster preparedness guides, 51 pages of great information about all kinds of different hazards. You can download it at houstonoem.org. I'd also like to make two short announcements. One, Rick Flanagan, our former emergency management coordinator, has retired after 41 years of service. We want to thank Rick for everything that he did for the city. And Nakia Bradley is going to be our new emergency management coordinator. She started yesterday. She has a history of working in the Emergency Management Agency in Washington, D.C. and FEMA. So, Nakia, we'd like to welcome you to the OEM family. Thank you, Mayor.